Good morning. I'm Eric Blank, and this is the Commissioners' Weekly Meeting for November 15th, 2023. Commissioner Plant, are you ready to approve the consent agenda as presented with one change? Let's hold off on 21R-0538R, the rail rulemaking, as I want to talk about that at the end and the timing of that deliberation. But other than that one exception, are you ready to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Good morning. Yes, I am ready to approve the amended consent agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner Gilman.
Good morning. I agree.
As do I. Thank you. 23AL-0507TR, Colorado Jeep Trail Tours. Mr. Gramlich.
Yes, good morning. I'm Gary Gramlich of the transportation staff. Excuse me, this is an advice letter and tariff as filed by Colorado Jeep Trail Tours. They're based in Durango. Was submitted on October 13th, originally to be effective November 13th. Amendment was filed on October 30th to postpone the effective date to November 17th. Colorado Jeep Trail Tours, under its certificate, may provide sightseeing service between points in La Plata, Montezuma, San Juan, and San Miguel counties. It was granted this authority in April of 2015. It filed the tariff in May of 2015, which is still in effect, has not been revised since that time. A quick comparison of its revenues for the last 4 years, 2019 to 2022, shows the greatest revenues in 2019 of over $766,000, decreased during the COVID 2020 and 2021, but did move upward in 2022, and the expenses were similar during that period. Specifically from 21 to 22, the usual expenses for passenger carriers, wages, fuel, insurance, and vehicle maintenance increased by 18% by the reports. It operates 10 vehicles and has 9 employees. Usually, it depends on the demand for the service. In this tariff, there are proposed fares for Mesa Verde tours, full day and half day, a Durango tour, Silverton, and a van Jeep combo, one of them is called. Certain of the fares are increased, but some of the adult and children's fares are decreased. And there are new services offered, just called scenic van tours and Jeep tours, where the customers, I believe the idea is that they can more or less create their own tour and request the destinations. The manager of Colorado Jeep Trail Tour did provide a statement of support. He mentions that they use 4x4 vehicles and scenic vans to provide the services. Costs in 23 have increased by almost 20%. They operate 10 vans now, 6 Jeeps, 10 vehicles, 6 Jeeps and 4 vans. But the prices have increased. He said both wages and other insurance and fuel up to 30%. This is another one of the tariffs where I contacted the owner of the company, as the tariff had not been revised since 2015. So it's been several years, and asked that a new one be filed to update the services named and the charges for the tours. This company also operates rafting tours in the Durango area, and that company is called Mild to Wild. And it did have some difficulty separating the expenses from between the rafting tours and the sightseeing tours, but the rates aren't changed significantly, and I will continue to try to assist the carrier in filing a more accurate annual reports. So there aren't a great deal of changes or information, but I do have a recommendation.
Yeah, if you could give your recommendation, that'd be great.
I think these are still, it's good to get these updated, and the recommendation would be to allow the proposed tariff changes to become effective operational on November 17th.
Commissioner Plant,
I agree with the recommendation.
Commissioner Gilman,
I also agree.
as do I. Thank you, Mr. Gramlich. 23A-0549 BP TA Purgatory Temporary Authority to act as a contract carrier. Mr. Gramlich.
Yes, it's Gary again. This is an application that's filed by Purgatory Recreation DBA Mountain Transport for a temporary authority to operate as a contract carrier. We don't get a significant number of contract carrier applications. It was filed on November 2nd and amended on November 6th to really better define the authority that it was trying to provide, and that is transportation of passengers between the Purgatory Resort and residents located within 3 miles of an intersection of Purgatory Boulevard and Highway 550 in Durango, which is the Purgatory Resort. The application is restricted to providing transportation for members and guests of homeowners association and residences that are managed by Durango Mountain Master Association, which not exactly sure, but it is another business that manages homeowners associations in some form. By statute, the was required a notice of 5 days. The application was noticed on November 6th. A 5-day period expired on November 13th, and no interventions were filed to the application. By rule, any company seeking authority to operate as a temporary authority to operate as a contract carrier can be granted for a period not to exceed 180 days. The applicant does have to show there's immediate and urgent need for the service and no other carrier capable of providing the requested service. The president of the MMA did provide a statement when she
He freeze up for you guys, or is that me? Mr. Gramlich? You're back. We lost you for a second.
that was probably the best part. Or the worst part, I don't know. Could have been either one. But the support just states that the DMA manages the vacation home for the residents and the guests, and many of these, as they would, fly into the area and do not necessarily have vehicles, have to cross Highway 550 to go to the resort, and there's no other shuttle or bus service in the area to provide this transportation. I believe the resort also is required to provide some sort of transportation for these guests. DMA states that Mountain Transport is well suited to provide this transportation service with its 4-wheel drive vehicles and drivers who are experienced in mountain winter driving. The immediate need comes from that the resort may open on November 18th. Mountain Transport also provided a statement in the application, which includes many of the same reasons for the need for the service. States it's, again, can provide the service well as it has 4-wheel drive vehicles and drivers who have drive throughout the winter in these areas, and will provide services during the peak winter season and summer months. And I'm not exactly sure what a master the Denver Mountain Master Association does, but it somehow works with all the homeowners associations and even some individual residents in La Plata County. There are specifically 9 HOAs near Purgatory Resort that are managed by the DMMA. And these are where most of the transportation will the passengers be transported from the HOAs to the Purgatory Resort and then back. And should also state that Mountain Transport has 2 common carrier certificates that has provided a similar service, I believe, but this is specifically to make it a contractual agreement. And the information provided by Mountain Transport and the DMMA does appear to show there is an immediate and urgent need for the service. So I do have a recommendation.
I think we can guess what it is, but please go ahead and give it. Oh, P froze again. Commissioner Plant, do you support the decision, the recommendation, which I think will be to grant the temporary authority for 180 days?
Yes, I do.
Commissioner Goman?
I agree.
As do I, and I think, Mr. Grantlick, that can be an ABC decision to grant the temporary authority for 180 days. So
Yes.
thank you. Proceeding number 22AL-0348G, Atmos gas rape case. Mr. Acera.
Good morning, Commissioners. Alex Acera with your Commission Counsel, and this is the Atmos rate case. I'm here to recommend that you stay the recently issued recommended decision in this proceeding. That will give advisors and counsel a bit more time to analyze it. The exceptions timeline will stay in place, and if any exceptions are filed, we can address them together with any other issues, likely sometime in early to mid-December. And if you agree, I would suggest an ABC decision seems to make sense here.
Commissioner Plant.
I agree with the recommendation.
Commissioner Goman.
I also agree.
As do I. Thank you, Mr. Acera. And that can be, as you say, an ABC order staying the ALJ's recommended decision. So thank you, sir. Opening an M docket regarding IOU development of clean energy projects. Ms. Dundas, Mr. Gomez.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Dundas, Super Commission Counsel, and as you said, with me is Mr. Gomez.
You're coming in and out a little. You might get a little closer or speak louder.
Okay, I don't have my headphones, so I'll just have to do my best. But today
Okay.
we're here to discuss whether it's appropriate to open a miscellaneous docket to implement certain provisions of House Bill 23-1281. The legislator passed this statute titled Concerning Measures to Advance the Use of Clean Hydrogen in the State during the 2023 legislative session. Already, the Commission has opened an investigative docket that is underway to address other provisions of the bill, and that includes several contractors currently undertaking investigations related to clean hydrogen. Section 4A of the bill requires the Commission to accept applications from IOUs that present a, quote, standalone application for a clean hydrogen project for which an investor-owned utility has applied for federal funding at any time before June 1, 2024. This provision is connected to the federal funding available for hydrogen hub projects. However, it's the Commission's understanding that Colorado did not receive any DOE hydrogen hub funding. To that end, and I'm going to go into my recommendation if that's okay.
Yep.
To that end, we recommend opening an M docket to aid compliance with House Bill 23-1281. We recommend issuing within that M docket an initial order that requests utilities to respond no later than November 29th, 2023, with their respective plans, if any, for filing hydrogen project applications on or before June 2024. We also recommend the order opening the M docket to receive comments from stakeholders on the proper pace of the rulemaking, including whether the Colorado Energy Office should file a notice with the Commission regarding a change in deadline for DOE funding. After that initial order seeking comment on plans for June applications and proper timing of the rulemaking, we anticipate that the Commission can use this M docket, if opened, as a vehicle to explore proper scoping for any June applications it anticipates receiving, as well as pre-rulemaking efforts pursuant to 40-21384A. So I'll pause here for discussion or a vote on whether to open an M docket and issue an initial order requesting comment by November 29th on utility plans and proper pace of proceeding.
Commissioner Plant,
I would support opening the M docket.
Commissioner Gilman,
Thanks. Yeah, Ms. Dundas, I support opening the docket, and also just maybe would throw out, I know that the legislation refers to June 1st, 2024 or before, so that is kind of more or less our main question. But say if a utility was going to submit an application June 5th, 2024, I would also like to know that. So I think if we can make it just a slight bit more general, clearly there's the reference in the statute that would be helpful to mention, but to the extent the utilities have any plans in or around, like I would just like to understand essentially in the upcoming year, more or less what plans they have, if any, to submit an application like this. So I just don't want anything being misunderstood in what we're trying to understand about their plans. I think it's essential for the commission as well as stakeholders to be able to plan what we foresee coming in this coming year in this area. So maybe just a slight broadening of what we're asking.
yeah, you might just following up on that. You might put some language in there with an request that the utilities tell us anything that would be useful in trying to orient to the statute and our efforts on hydrogen. So if you could just add some general language. Any further comments, Commissioner Plant? And again, that could be an ABC order opening the M docket consistent with your recommendation in this conversation. So thank you, Ms. Dundas.
Yep.
Last thing, 21R-0538R. It's the rulemaking that's before us on exceptions. There was an item on the consent agenda scheduling a deliberation meeting at Friday at 2 p.m., Friday, November 17th at 2 p.m. And I'm just wondering if you guys would be okay if we move that to 4 p.m. It looks like it's free on your calendar. I'm going to be tied up at 2. So Commissioner Plant, if you could take a quick look and see if you can do 4.
Yeah, 4 would actually work much better for me as well.
Okay. Commissioner Gilman, could you do 4?
Yes.
Thank you for that accommodation. And I think Harper, if you could, I don't know if that's an ABC decision or you'll set it by minute entry.
Yes, that's a minute entry.
All right, we'll set that by minute entry. With that, Commissioner Plant, anything final before we adjourn?
Nope, nothing for me.
Commissioner Gilman.
Nothing additional. Thanks.
Thanks to all. Short meeting. With that, we're adjourned. See you Friday.